Right folks, good afternoon. Welcome back. And welcome back to the Goyt Valley. Now, we were up here last week filming the aftermath of the wildfire. When I was researching the area, I came across a rather intriguing story, and we're going to follow it up today. So, let's get out of this car park. And we're going to head up at the road. And on the way, I'll tell you a story. Okay, so welcome back. Gotta watch out for cyclists around here. Come down here to hell of a rate of knots. Now, today is an absolutely beautiful day in mid-May. It's a late spring and it's lovely. However, got to imagine that it's Christmas Eve and it's snowing, a massive blizzard, and it's pitch black. The year is 1735. So on Christmas Eve 1735, a young man, 29-year-old John Turner, was headed this way. He was trying to get home to Saltersford Hall Farm. Now, by trade, John Turner was a jagger. It's nothing to do with the lead singer of the Rolling Stones. A jagger was a sort of travelling merchant. You might say the Eddie Stobart of the 17th, 18th century. So a jagger or a jaggerman would move goods from one part of the country to another. Now up here, John used to move salt from over in Cheshire down to Derby, then he'd bring goods back up to this area. And what you have to remember is, in those days, your average person never went more than 4 miles from where he was born. He was born, grew up, got married, lived and died here, never left the area. So a jagger, or a jaggerman, was a very well-travelled character. He'd know the area extremely well. Now, John was on his way back on Christmas Eve. So John was on his way home, and in spite of the fact it was snowing a blizzard, he decided to carry on, because he reckoned he knew the roads so well. He said he'd never been lost. I had a team of horses. Christmas Day, John's family are getting a bit worried because he's not turned up. It was overdue. So they send a search party out looking for him. First of all, they come across his horses, spread out a bit, but they were all still alive, just. Not the case with John. They found his body lying in the snow, frozen solid, and in the snow, at the side of his body, was a single impression of a woman's shoe. Just one footprint. How weird was that? So no one knows who this mystery woman was. Why just one footprint? Should have been lots. But was it really a footprint? Or did somebody just think, that looks like a woman's footprint? We'll never know, obviously. And the next weird thing was that a few days later, John's body disappeared. Never to be found. So, it's a real mystery. Almost 300 years later, no one has come up with an explanation as to what happened. We'll never know what he died of. Was he attacked by highwaymen? Robbers? Who knows? So it's a bit of a weird story, isn't it? And it's such a weird story that there's a marker stone. So I'm just going to drop back into this. Oh, it's not a lay-by really, it's more of a passing place. Took it well in because it's a hell of a narrow road. Oh well, that was a bit of a struggle trying to find somewhere to get the bike where I could get the side stand down without it falling over. Anyway, this is what we've come to look at. This is John Turner's death stone. So it reads here, John Turner was cast away in a heavy snowstorm the night in or about the year 1755. Now, that's not true. This is not the original stone. The original stone was removed and it was used in a house wall not too far away. So this is a replacement stone, and they probably, with the fading on the stone, they misread the 1735, thinking it was 1755. So that date is wrong. On the other side of the stone, it says, the print of a woman's shoe was found by his side in the snow where he lay dead. Weird, isn't it? How very peculiar. But look at this place. It's absolutely wild. Imagine this on a dark winter's night, everywhere covered in snow. And John Turner lying here, frozen to death. It's a hell of a way to go. So, what a really weird story. Who was the mystery woman? Did she exist at all? Why did his body disappear? Never going to find an answer. Right, I've got to attempt to turn around now. Not going to be easy. Thank you. So we're heading back up the road, and we're going to try and find John Turner's house, or at least the farm. And there it is, Saltersford Hall Farm. This was John Turner's home, where he was born and raised. His father was a tenant farmer here. So that's probably not changed in 300 years. So you see, John wasn't far from home. A mile, if that. Now the last place I want to visit is just back down the road. The way we came. So this is the last place I wanted to visit. This is the Jenkins Chapel. And it's a really weird little place. The construction of it is really peculiar. It just looks like a little house with a tower stuck on it. And that's because it was built not by the church, but by the local parishioners. It was a long way to the nearest church. So they built this thing and paid for it themselves. Unfortunately, we can't get in because behind that door and the floor are two tombstones, one of which inscribed with the name of John Turner's father. He was the first person to be interred here. Although at the time the church hadn't been consecrated anyway, and it was another 60 years before it was. So there you go. This is what happened to the Turner family. From John dying just over that way to his home on the farm just down there, and his father ended up here. So, all in all, a bit of a weird story. We've just about covered everything now. So it's time to head back. What a strange church, chapel. So I'm heading back to the Goyt Valley now. I'll wind the video up here. Thank you very much for coming along. Hope you found that interesting. I do like a good mystery, especially an unsolved one. So thanks for coming along. If you enjoyed it, leave us a like, please. Maybe even consider subscribing to the channel. Doesn't cost anything. So here we are on the top of the moor. We're only 5 miles from Buxton. And it could be the back of beyond. In fact, it probably is. So I'll leave it at that. Thanks for coming along. Stay safe out on the road, and I'll catch you next time. Bye.